Well, hello, good morning. I am live. It is Kingdom Fundraisers Live, and I'm Willie Peterson, your host. I'm glad to be with you today on September the 20th, and where we're going to have a conversation about how to leverage your resources. Now, in the last few weeks, we've been having a conversation specifically about um, the logic models and how logic models affect your fundraising possibilities, your fundraising goals. And it's been very wise and important for me to share with you on that. I've spent about 2 or 3 weeks doing that and making sure that we actually understand what a logic model is, because again, that idea of logic models is very valuable to you. My goal is to give you the resources that you need week after week so that you can become the best fundraiser for your organization, for your ministry that you can be. One of my goals is to help create this year, toward the end of the year, 10 six-figure fundraisers. And again, my goal is to do that every year, is to create, at least help 10 of you all become six-figure fundraisers. And I'm talking about $999,999.99. That's really six figures, 6, 8 figures. We don't include the cents, but $1 away from being $1 million fundraiser. And guess what? I can even show you how to do that, because if you follow these patterns, if you follow the things that we're giving you week after week, we can help you. We know for a fact, I believe with all my heart, that if you follow everything that we've been sharing with you week after week, that you can become this six-figure fundraiser. How many of you out there would love to be that person that knows for your organization that you're raising $100,000 at a time? And yes, you have to qualify and begin sometime with 2,000. 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, and more. It's okay to climb the ladder. And I like that idea, because if you can accept the concept of going from 2,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 to 15 to 25 to 50 to 100,000 and more, those figures in your ideas and fundraising can grow every time you put out a grant. Oftentimes, individuals approach me, and what they want to do is they want to go right after those $100,000, $200,000 grants. And you're a new organization. I believe that many funders are looking at your pattern of fundraising, but also how you are sustainable even after they give you the dollars or the money that you need to become a successful fundraiser. And so generally, you want to look at a 2 or 3 year pattern of fundraising if you're new. But one of the things that we at WePete Inc. and Kingdom Fundraisers, our goal is to help you qualify for these funding opportunities. I don't want you to just write grants or fundraise, but how do we help you become consistent in raising money that will allow your organization to become sustainable? And by giving you this idea of the logic model in these last few weeks, we know we can do that. And now I'm hoping, I don't see my brother Mark on with me today, but remember this: you can join Kingdom Fundraisers by logging onto my YouTube channel, and that is at youtube.com at Ask Pastor Willie, and you can become a subscriber. You can get all of these programs. You can get all of my videos, and they explain these same things that I give you week after week. Or you can go to my Facebook page, which is again at facebook.com/Pastor W. Pete, and you can get the same information. Or you can go to my webpage, which is www.WePete Inc. Now that's WEPE Inc.com. That stands for WePete, which is Willie and Ella Peterson Incorporated.com. You can go to that and you can get all of the information that you need that we talk about again week after week after week. And so today, let me help you out a little bit, and let's dive in to the topic, how to leverage resources in fundraising and or grant writing. Again, in these last few weeks, like I said, I began to share with you all how to create a logic model. And what we did was we identified Those four major things that a logic model needs in order for you to be successful, and that's your inputs, your activities, your outputs, and your resources. And the resources was broken down in the short term. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Your outcome short. You're setting your outcome. That was number four. Let me repeat them because just in case I did it wrong, let me repeat them. How to create your logic model. We talked about the way to do so is identifying your inputs, defining your activities, outlining your outputs, and setting outcomes. You do that, what are your resources? And that's what we want to talk about today. Identifying your input, which are your resources. Your resources, they include financial support, human resources like your staff and volunteers. We're going to talk about this. Physical resources such as your buildings, equipment, or how about informational resources like data and like your research. So when we talk about those things, the objective here is for you to understand the different type of resources that you have available to you for fundraising and or for grant writing, so that if you learn how to identify these things, it'll leverage internal and external resources for your business and your organization. Here, I want to also explore some strategies, and this may take a couple of weeks for me to go through them with you, but it's okay. Learning is a process, and for you to be able to be good at this, we need to take the time to do so, which is why we post these videos on our YouTube channel every week so that you have access to learn more about this. They'll also be available on my website soon. We're making them available so that as a part of our grant training, you will have access to those as well. But the final thing we want to make sure in our objectives is for you to explore your strategies and aligning your resources with your goals to improve your fundraising and grant writing outcomes. How about that? And so now let's understand what your resources are. What are available to you? When you think about your organization, when you look at that, when you look at your organization as a whole, what are your human capital? What type of resources that you have as it relates to human beings working with you or for you, like your staff. Sometimes, like in my case, it's just L&I for the most part, who are pretty much paid employees for what we do at WePeak and or Kingdom Fundraisers. But we also contract with individuals who can do specific things. My staff includes my VA, Mark and Doris Chua. And what they do is help me with the audio, with the visual part of what WePeak Inc. and Kingdom Fundraisers, with the 1 minute prayer group, and what all of the things that we do. They are our visual individuals who create the content for what we do, and they're very important to WePeak Inc. and Kingdom Fundraisers, as well as the 1 minute prayer. They're valuable because their resource of what they bring to the table makes everything look good. Hello, somebody. Sorry about that. And so when you talk about human capital, they're very valuable to what we do at WePeak Inc. and Kingdom Fundraisers. And so when you look at your human capital, your staff, those people working with you, look at the value that they bring to the table. How about volunteers? We have people that help us when it comes to the financial part of it, making sure we align what we're supposed to do here. I say the same thing to you. If you're going to be a fundraiser, look at the people who are helping you in the way that you need help. All nonprofit organizations should have boards. LLCs can have one as well, but usually LLCs are partnerships or one way or the other. But if you have a larger organization or a larger agency, you may have a board that also are paid boards or people on your board where they get benefits at the end of the year, however you set up your board. But most nonprofit boards, you should have one. If not, then we need to revisit how your organization is structured so that you again qualify for funding. Because guess what? A funder wants to know who the people are working with you and for you. And many of them, depending on if state and federal funding, they may ask you who your board members are and what they bring to the table. So when we talk about qualifying you for funding, these are the things that We Pete Inc. Through Kingdom Fundraisers does to help you qualify, is make sure that you have, who is your staff? Who are your volunteers? Who are your board? Because they can be vital resources. And their skills, the network that they bring, and the time can make a major difference in your fundraising efforts. Think about it. The skills and their background alone may have great networking capabilities. I'll use an example again of a banker who is on your board, or an attorney who is on your board, or you should have those individuals on your board. Why would you want a banker on your board? Well, banks often give money to community organizations. If a board member, if on your in your if a banker is on your committee or your organization as a board member, then that banker may bring dollars with them. But not only that, networking is possible because of who they are and who they know. In Youngstown, the bank that we bank at back home, one of the bank executives, she used to tell me, and we would have a conversation about an organization that they were working with. And think about this: even bankers volunteer on boards that they're passionate about. You all remember in some of our videos in the past, we talk about funders who give to organizations and programs that they care about. When you look at their annual report, you begin to see where the funding begins to be distributed. And generally that money is distributed to organizations or programs that they care about. So when you look at board members, again, your human capital or your available resources, your input to your organization, you want to find people who care about the vision that you have in your organization. And they're more likely to be more active and involved, not just members because they know you, family, and all of that. And I'm not knocking that for anybody. But what I am saying is that if you have people on your board who are passionate about your vision, we talk about that in my mission in my avatar for the people I serve, is that we try to match funders with your vision. Why? Because they help you have a consistent cash flow. We assess your organization's the vision of your organization. We assess your organization's mission, organization development. Once we assess that, we Pete Inc. Once we assess that, then what we do is match that vision, that message, with funders who care about the same type of thing. And those people are more likely to be more active in what you do. So that's why we look at the human capital, those individuals who are working with you to help you do so. Staff, oftentimes you get staff who just want to work. But if you can find people, and when you do your mission statement and your vision statement, and you share that with people in your interview, if they're passionate about it, it'll come out, whether it's a staff member, volunteer, or board members, or people around you. Remember, one of the main resources that we have, and it's an input for our organization, is human capital. What about the financial resources? Your existing funds and the budget play a critical role in enabling you to fundraise or to grant write. So what do you have available? What type of dollars? One of the things that I believe in is having what is called friends of. So if your organization is an empowerment organization, who around you not only can give, human volunteers, because many people volunteer because they don't have money. What about the people that can give you $5, $25, $100 at a time, whether it's on a monthly basis or an annual basis? You ought to be able to bring in some funding opportunities that are not $100,000 once a year. But what do you have existing as a resource financially, dollar-wise? And in your budget, when you make your budget, you want to know what's there. Sometimes organizations that funding you, They want to know, do you have a match? There's a way that we at We Pete Inc. and Kingdom Fundraisers can show you how to take advantage of the match that you have, whether it's in-kind services and cash matches. So you want to be able to look at your funding, your resources. What do you have available to you? I shared with one individual that was looking for funding, and they were looking at a grant and how to make that grant work, $500,000 grant. But I shared with him, remember, most funders that fund you, they reimburse your dollars. They don't give you upfront money to write to your grant. Yes, you've written $100,000 or a $500,000 grant, but most of those dollars are reimbursable. So you need to spend them dollars. Even when it comes to contracting someone like myself, who is a fundraiser or a grant writer, even in that, if you found a way to make that a contract and put it in your proposal, put it in your budget, even then you still have to pay those individuals, show that you paid those individuals, your staff. You got to show you paid your staff. You have to show you paid the rent. You have to show you paid the utilities. You have to show that you paid those individuals who are contracted with you in order to be reimbursed. And so oftentimes individuals want to know, well, Pastor, can you write us a grant? Yes, we can. But there are, again, upfront costs. You have to pay your bills to get reimbursed for those things in your grant writing and your grant receiving process. So what financial resources do you have in order to, as an input to your logic model? Am I making sense? And I hope I am. I'm hoping you guys are receiving what I'm saying to you, because, again, it's very valuable to where you want to go. And I hope I'm helping you with this information. Well, what about, excuse me, here we go. What about your networking, your input? We talked about the human input. We talked about your financial input or resources as it relates to our logic model. Network and relationship. Here's another important thing. Building relationship is, with key stakeholders or your donors, foundations, corporations, community leaders can dramatically improve chances of your success. Now, networking. You can't be an island. You have to be out in the community. You need to share who you are. People need to know who you are. You need to spend time on social media. And if you don't know how to do those things, again, there are people around me that I can connect you to who can help you put yourself out there, that can help you market yourself. But specifically today, when we talk about social media, there is a way to market yourself in a way that people will know who your organization is, and you will find matches. Again, you want to match your vision with organizations who are interested in funding that. So building relationship with stakeholders is very, very valuable. What about donors? Again, I talked about getting friends of, meeting people out there who are interested in donating both time and financial resources, and maybe they can just introduce you to somebody. Don't take it lightly that maybe someone can't give you something. But that person may know somebody that can add to your organization and then make a valuable input. How about foundation? I talk about that in grant writing often a lot, because foundations are those organizations that are around you. Most businesses in your neighborhood, specifically, for example, hospitals, they have foundations as a part of their business model so that they can fund specific things that they're interested in. Obviously, a hospital is interested in healthcare. And so if you have anything dealing with healthcare, for example, mental health, physical health, things like that, you may find a hospital who has something that can make a difference for you. Example, maybe the hospital can bring in someone to help do, as a volunteer, connecting with you. Maybe they'll do an exercise class or do some health. As a matter of fact, the church that we're affiliated with here tomorrow, a doctor legitimately is coming to the church, and what they're doing is providing health screening, free health screening for that organization. Now, think about that. the amount of people who will be coming to that organization can now begin to partner in more ways than one. And because we're working with, Ella and I are working with the CDC, it's called the Job Training and Employment, Job Training and Employment Program. We now help individuals get in the healthcare field, CNAs, HHAs, and LPN. Being there with these individuals, we'll begin to meet people who can add to what we're trying to do with that agency and organization here. So networking, you get it? And there's foundation dollars that actually pay for them to come. So how about corporate sponsors? Just take a minute and talk about corporations in your neighborhood. Would you consider Target a corporation, a business, a corporation? Would you consider Walmart a business or a corporation? How about Home Depot, Lowe's? Businesses like that are in your neighborhood, many of those organizations, guess what? They give out funding or grants to local nonprofits primarily to help advance their mission and to provide the services to the community. A lot of times those dollars are small, 2,000, 5,000, sometimes 10. But oftentimes they come out 2 or 3 times a year with a $25,000 grant opportunity, $15,000 grant opportunity. And so you want to build relationships with these corporations. Who in the corporation is in charge of the community outreach? They may bring people to if you're doing an outreach in the neighborhood, oftentimes they provide volunteer staff to come. They'll pay the staff their regular hours, and they can come help you in your community outreach. And that is very important because now you have people there. They'll set up a booth. That booth can draw interest to their business, but it also draw people to you. So networking and building relationships with your foundations, the hospitals and organizations around there. I would say Google foundations in your neighborhood. And they tell you who they are. They tell you in their annual report who they gave money to last year. It helps you understand how to move forward with what you're doing. Corporate sponsors. How about community leaders? Do not ignore your council people, those individuals in your community, because you didn't vote for them. I hate to tell you, that don't mean a thing. What it does mean is they have access to the resources because their vision for their community, if you have anything that matches their vision, then I would say, you need to connect with them. Our council people, they bring dollars to the table for every neighborhood. Why? Because they want to build up their neighborhood. If they're local council, if they're city council, if they're state individuals. I served on a board for the state of Ohio, for AmeriCorps and for volunteer corporations. And there were dollars that we distributed throughout the whole state. And many of those things were related to people. We had began to build relationships and learning where their funding, what their funding vision was. And we can say to them, okay, this grant is coming out at this specific time of the year. You need to lock in and apply for that grant. Now, I could not say to them, we're going to give you the grant. It's the application process that we all want to learn. And so want to make sure that you network with the community leaders, organizations. Go to the bank and find out who that community person is. Find out from the hospital who that community person is. Find out from Lowe's or Home Depot or Target or even Starbucks. These companies, ask. You pull up to a Burger King or a Walmart, ask for the manager. Ask the manager, or do you all provide any resources for the community? You'll be surprised at things that you can get. The last point I want to make as it relates to understanding your available resources or the input portion of your logic model is data. How do you use data and research? Having access to data on your past success, your current needs, and the potential opportunities is critical to crafting a strong proposal and a fundraising campaign. What research do you have about the needs in your neighborhood? What research do you have about what has already been done or what is going to be done? Sometimes you want to do what's called asset mapping. That's a whole nother lesson. But in mapping, it helps you know what assets are in your neighborhood. What other organizations are providing the specific things in your neighborhood that you can connect to? Not so much duplicate, but you want to connect to other people. And they have the data for what they've already done. So partnering with other individuals has a valuable it's a valuable resource to who you are. You want to use data from the past projects to demonstrate your track record and the success to potential funders. Incorporate community data to highlight the relevant needs that are there. So if your council people are talking about needs, then get the data about the need in the neighborhood, why you need to do low income housing, why you need mental health why you need drug abuse training, why you need to talk. Here they had a grant for opioids, the different opportunities, why we need to get more flyers and education to the youth on the opioid epidemic. Data plays a major role in writing your proposals. Technology tools, and I close with this one. How about your technology? Fundraising platforms, your CRM systems, the grant writing management tools. They're all valuable for tracking donor interaction and proposal deadlines. You need the right tools to help you become successful. That all right? I wanted to share that first part with you. Maybe next week we'll talk about how to leverage internal resources so we can maximize these things to give you. I want to spend some time on each one of these levels of fundraising. I'm talking about your logic model. Today I'm on the impact portion. I may follow up with some of that next week. And if I don't do the impact portion, maybe we'll move to defining more about activities and how to really break this down to help you become a successful kingdom fundraiser. That's our goal, is to help you become a successful kingdom fundraiser. So again, I want to thank you for joining me for today's edition of Kingdom Fundraisers. Don't forget to join the network. Go to my webpage, www.WePeteInc.com. Go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Pastor W. Pete. Join, again, follow me, send me a DM if you have any questions. And then I even have a better way. Go to Linktree, that's linktr.ee, Linktree/Pastor Willie. And there you can get all of the list of all of the things that we're working with and working on. And our goal is to make sure we help you go from startup to sustainability. I want to help you get your vision off of the paper and onto the pavement so that you can be a successful fundraiser in the kingdom of God. God bless you. Thank you for joining me on this week's edition. I look forward to seeing you next week right here, same time. Have a great one.